Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Frivolous Writer, where you can join me on this journey of writing my very first novel. I am just overwhelmed with the amount of views I've been getting and the amount of engagement. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all of you for your comments, for liking these videos, and for subscribing to the channel. It's been amazing. I started this channel about a month ago, and I really thought that I would just be doing these videos for myself as a way to keep myself accountable for the progress that I'm making towards completing my first book, my very first novel. And the amount of engagement I've been getting is far exceeding my expectations. We're up to 30 subscribers today, which is bananas for me, because I really didn't think that anyone would be watching this, and but it's been amazing to get the opportunity to engage with everybody. So I love reading your comments. I reply to every single comment that gets made on this channel, and it's been just awesome. It's been an awesome experience, because one of the reasons I wanted to start this channel was because I wanted to create a community of people who were interested in writing and who maybe didn't know how to get started or where to start, and would get overwhelmed like I did and just give up. And so I love seeing that many of you are on this journey. Either you're getting started or you've been started and maybe gave up and now you're trying to get back into it. It's just been awesome. For me, writing is therapeutic. It's really, it's just an incredible feeling to know that this is something I've been wanting to do for decades, literally decades of my life. And every time I tried to get started or would start, I would always give up. And this time I've now completed uh, 10 chapters. I started the 11th and then I stopped, and I'm gonna go back to writing that because there's those times that that you're writing and it's just not coming out. It's not flowing the way that you wanted it to flow. And so one of the things I learned is get up and walk away, which is what I did. I've tried a couple of times now, but I had to get up and walk away. I had to go spend some time really thinking about what it is that I want the chapter to look and feel and sound like in my head, and kind of create that before I'll go back and start again. So a little bit of a hiccup on the progress, but I will talk more about that on Friday when I talk about some of the learnings that I had. But today is Tuesday, which means it's me reading another chapter from my rough draft, my very first draft of writing my very first novel. And these days make me anxious and excited and nervous, a little bit overwhelmed, because I'm sharing a bit of my soul with all of you. But it's actually been one of the most rewarding things, and I think that the Tuesday episodes are the ones that people really enjoy listening to. So I will get started, but before I do, if you have any feedback or if you think of anything that might benefit a new writer like myself or anybody that might be watching, feel free to comment in the comments below around tools that you use or how you get started, or even if it's just feedback on my writing or my writing style, things that you think I could benefit from. Like I said earlier, respond to every single comment. I love hearing what you guys do and what works for all of you. So make sure that you come back, put a comment below, tell me how I'm doing or what's working, what's not working. I'm open to all of it. And as you saw last Friday, if you didn't watch last Friday's episode, I'll link it up above. But go back and watch that, because what I'm going to try and do is move forward with first draft, just put everything I can down and just get through it, because that's the purpose of draft one. Draft two is when we can go back and try and find the continuity and make sure that we can cut some things or add some things if we need to. And then one more thing before I start. As I'm writing, I'm realizing I've got plot holes. all over the place. So I know that that's something that I'm going to have to work on. And, but that's going to be saved for draft review for draft number 2. So when I go through and reread what I've written already, then I'll start working on some of the rewrites. So excited. This is the farthest I've ever gotten in writing my novel, and it's been in my brain for years and years. So really excited to be able to share all of this with you. So without further ado, let me get started on reading you chapter 5. So if you recall from our chapter 4, Maya and Conrad were able to get the journal from Eli. They were able to go back to their house and they read through and they uncovered some of the inner workings of their best friend Eli's mind that he had written about and they had never known. So with that, let's start chapter 5. Chapter 5. The world seemed darker than usual. Conrad sat alone in his bed. There was no life being lived around him, no gentle hum of the earth as it spun in orbits around the sun. Today, everything felt dull, like life was being filtered through a gray screen. Conrad could hardly move and felt so restless all at once. The lethargy had taken over his whole body. Anxiety is daunting. The feeling of simultaneously being full of energy and yet being so overwhelmed that he was paralyzed by that energy. This had been his whole life, for as long as he had memories. The drive for more that he had, and yet being stuck in fear of the possibilities. Some days were better than others. Some days, like today, he could hardly find the drive to lift his arm to turn off his alarm to get up for school. His parents had sent him to so many doctors and therapists to figure out what was going on with him. He hated going to the doctors and therapists because they all led to one road. Take this pill to help you regulate your moods. He tried them all. They made him feel so numb. Or some made him feel so powerful, like Superman. None of them made him feel like himself. He stopped taking his pills. He lied to his parents and would flush them down the toilet every morning. He just couldn't take them every day. He didn't like the feeling of altering what he was feeling. He knew that it was hard for him some days, like today. But he also knew that when he was taking his pills, that those days he felt awful. He couldn't concentrate. He couldn't do simple things. And he was on his phone all day distracting himself from the uneasiness that would take over his whole being. And when he felt like Superman, he couldn't remember things. He couldn't remember who he talked to or what he'd said. He one time did a whole assignment and turned it in for credit and didn't remember doing it. No, he couldn't bring himself to take them anymore. He started flushing the pills one by one every morning. He lied to everyone about it except Maya and Eli. They knew his secret. He felt safe telling them. He knew they wouldn't judge him. He somehow knew it in his gut that they would still accept him exactly as he was. The gut instinct wasn't a new feeling for Conrad. He'd had it for as long as that feeling of anxiety. He'd also had that feeling of knowing. That strong intuition, that gut instinct, it showed up in different ways. Sometimes it came as a feeling, a pressure in his stomach, like a queasy feeling, almost like he was going to be sick. One time, when his parents wanted to take him to see a movie at the theater, they all got ready for this awesome night out. They were going to watch a movie and go to the arcade. Conrad was so excited. But then that feeling came, in the pit of his stomach. It came on strong. The more he thought of how excited he was to go, the stronger that feeling was. He ended up throwing a tantrum like a toddler until his parents gave in and stayed home to watch a movie instead. He remembered that the next day his parents talking about how there was a major incident that happened in the parking lot of the mall where the theater was, and just how lucky they were that they stayed home. That feeling becomes more than just a feeling. It starts as a feeling, but then turns into a knowing of what's going to happen. It usually feels like that pit in his stomach, But Conrad has that pit so many times. Had that pit so many times. If that pit stays long enough, he sometimes dreams about things that actually happen. Not just a feeling of déjà vu, but actually dreaming about things that happen before they happen. Conrad thought back to a time that he was so nervous about a test he was supposed to take. The night before the test, he dreamed about taking the test. He dreamed every single question. He dreamed every answer to the test. He even dreamed his teacher telling the class every correct answer to the test. The next morning, when he went to school, it happened exactly like in his dream. He already knew the questions. He knew every correct answer. He even knew what his teacher was going to be wearing. He saw it all, almost as if he had lived the day before it happened. When he took the pills that the doctors gave him, all of that went away. He didn't feel that pit in his stomach. He didn't have the feeling of all that pent-up energy in his body, that feeling of being so overwhelmed and so tired. He felt nothing. He knew he had to stop. He would rather feel all of those things that made life hard than to feel nothing at all. Even with this knowing and gut instinct that he'd relied on his whole life, he could not see or feel or know what his best friend was going through. He had stopped taking the pills. He felt sharp, and he still couldn't help his friend. He sat in bed ruminating. The lights were turned off, his mind fixed on what he'd read in Eli's journal. Who were those people that Eli wrote about? And why did he never tell him? Why did he never tell me? He was my best friend. Conrad was inadvertently speaking aloud, in a whisper but loud enough to be audible. What did he mean? How do you kill a whisper? He repeated it out loud. He pictured in his mind that night in Eli's room, the feeling he felt, how he flashed into the room, the shadow that was just out of reach of his sight. How did I do that? Again, out loud. Then, within a split second, he was in a room, or he wasn't in his room. He was somewhere unfamiliar. It was cold, sterile. There were test tubes, metal-topped tables, cabinets, and transparent glass doors. Inside, it looked like jars filled with colorful liquids. Conrad spun in place, taking in where he was, scanning his surroundings. He found a door on the far side of the room from where he was. It was closed. There was a small rectangular window in the top right of the door. It had pinstriped lines on it, creating small squares across the entirety of the glass. The only light in the room came from the small window. He continued to turn, trying to understand just where he was. There was open shelves with different science equipment on them. Scales, microscopes, beakers, more test tubes. A science lab? He said to no one, confused, just above a thought. Footsteps. He heard footsteps just outside the door. His heart started racing. The thud of the beats lined up with those footsteps. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know how he got there, or where he was. His ears felt hot from the blood rushing to them. The latch on the door started to release. Conrad stood frozen in place at the opposite side of the room. As the door swung open, the silhouette of a tall man was in the doorway, just the shadow. He made eye contact with the figure. He could see the glowing eyes in the dark. Then a grin of teeth shined in the dark as well. Conrad's ears were ringing. His heart was beating so hard he could hear it echoing from the metal tabletops. "How did you get here?" A deep voice came from the shadow. "You're not supposed to be here." The voice came from the still grinning mouth. The fear was tangible. Conrad could feel it take over his whole body. His fingertips were tingling with it. He squeezed his eyes closed as hard as he could. The ringing in his ears turned to a hum. Then nothing. He opened his eyes. He was back in bed, in his dark room. His heartbeat started to slow. He scanned his room to make sure that he was in fact there. Was this real, or was this still a vision? He touched his chest and put his hands down to his sides and grabbed a fistful of his blanket on his bed. It felt real. He was sure it was. He sat up straight, looked around his room. His phone was on his desk next to his bed. Bounding out of the bed, he lunged at his phone. He unlocked the screen. The brightness hadn't adjusted, and his whole room lit up. He opened his texts. There weren't many on the list. Maya's was on top. As fast as his thumbs would go, he wrote, "Maya, I need to talk. Urgent. Call me." So there is chapter 5. Um, Honestly, this felt difficult to write. It didn't come as easy as some of the other chapters that I'd written. But the most important thing for me right now is just to make sure that I get the idea of the chapter down. I know, according to last Friday's video, you're supposed to give it a lot of bloat, a lot of extra. But what I'm finding is that my chapters so far in my first draft are not as bloaty as I would like them to be. I feel like they're already kind of edited down to a minimal amount. But the one thing that really jumps out to me is plot holes. So I know from chapter 1 until now, there's been a little bit of a change of environment, a little bit of change of what Eli might have written or what Maya and Conrad might have seen in the journal, uh, who this shadow figure is. Like, it's all still kind of um, boiling in my mind, so that I can eventually reduce it down to be more specific. So that's part of the process, though. I have to constantly remind myself that's okay. Like, this is first draft. It's supposed to be messy. It's not supposed to be an immaculate conception of a master novel. So I'm just trying to be okay with that feeling of like, oh, it's not done and it's not finished, and yet I'm here reading it to people. So I know that that's the case. I know that that's okay. I'm still trying to kind of figure that part out. But here it is in all its glory, chapter 5, first draft done. I can't wait to have or to read what your comments are, what your thoughts are. um, give me give me some feedback on this. But and like I said, I reply to every single comment that you make. So give me the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm here for it. That's what this community is all about, is to give each other a platform. If you are a writing channel, make sure that you comment on my video below. I will follow you. I can give you a shout out. If you are doing something similar on your channel, let me know, because I would love to hear your novel and where you're at and what you're going through. Maybe we can work together on how we can get to the finish line for all of us. And for those of you who have already been doing that, thank you. Thank you so much to Andrew Carter and to, uh, um, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank on your name. Success is mine. Sorry, to Success is mine, because the two of you have already been doing that, and I'm loving discovering your novels and where you're at and what your characters are going through. It's been amazing. So make sure, if you're a writing channel, comment below. If you're a reading channel, comment below too, because I love reading channels also. So I look forward to connecting with as many of you as possible, and can't wait until Friday. On Friday, I'm gonna probably, I don't know exactly what I'm gonna talk about, but I want it to be something something that I've learned around this. And maybe if you've experienced something, maybe comment below, because I can talk about that on Friday too. So looking forward to seeing you all then. And with that, have a great Tuesday. And thank you so much for being here. Bye, everybody.